Welcome back to another episode, everybody. People send in questions for our Q&A episode all the time, and the number one question for the last 3 or 4 months has been, where's Mike? Well, guess what?
We're going to talk about where I've been and hopefully where I'm going. And I miss Justin.
I missed you too, buddy. Welcome to that Jiu Jitsu podcast. A lot has happened since you last were on the show. I'm going to give you some of the highlights. You ready?
Let's do it.
A bunch of rich assholes shot themselves kind of into space for really no reason at all. Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend got swollen balls from the COVID vaccine, and it totally wasn't just chlamydia that he was lying about before his wedding. Facebook tried to cover up, knowing that it's a terrible company that benefits from negativity and the spread of misinformation by just changing their name to Meta, which is really dumb. Also, Mark Zuckerberg was told that humans like barbecue sauce, so he had some on his bookshelf behind him when he was talking. I started training at a new school, and since I moved again, I've got my fancy upgraded studio behind me. Would you say that that is an fairly accurate summation of what happened?
In terms of like the biggest events that have happened in the world since the last time I've been on there, yes, I would.
That's pretty good, right? That's a pretty good rundown of everything that you missed that we didn't get to talk about.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that we've stayed away from any type of political comments on the podcast. It looks like I'm coming back right, at the right time, kind of steer the ship.
Lots of people always ask in the comments and on Instagram and send me direct messages, and 2 people emailed the show, which you can also do at thatjujitsupodcast@gmail.com, asking, where's Mike? So where's Mike?
One of those people who emailed the show it was me.
It was a distress signal. Diana J had you tied up in the basement.
Where's Mike? Mike's tied to the radiator in this house right now. No, man, it was life got so crazy for a while I guess it was towards the end of like July, August. I guess early August. I was on a couple vacations, and prior to leaving for those vacations, I had like a 2-week like work commitment thing, like this camp at work. So I really wasn't able to focus on work for. It's crazy to think of this when you look at it in hindsight, but like being like almost the entire summer, I was out of the office. So towards the end of August, when I got back, that one vacation that we did, that I was down the shore, the fight sports episode that we did, which by the way, people are still talking to me about that, and I really think that like we were ahead of our time there. Like,
really?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like thinking like the New York Times posted it, and all of a sudden it's a big deal. It's like, bro, check YouTube. We were talking about this shit like 2 months ago. You know what I mean? So
that's all I'm saying. And by the way, that right before you left and that episode came out, and my personal Instagram and the show's Instagram, that was a full-time job managing the fucking comments, because people were actually like, dude, I had to turn the notifications off on my phone because it was just blowing up left and right from people either being like, yeah, fuck fight sports, or people being like, no, it's not that bad. So
yeah, no,
anyway.
I mean, in case you need to, we need to reiterate our stand on that. It's definitely fuck fight sports, right? It's definitely fuck fight sports. Anyway, I got back into work, and it was crazy. Like work took over. I had barely any time to train. It was right around that time. I know I had talked about it on the show. I was dealing with this nagging back injury that was keeping me off the mats. Thank you, Brian White. And the shoulder injury that I had for probably almost like a year and a half, and it was getting worse. It was getting worse, and they were talking about shoulder surgery, and then I had a doctor talking about potential back surgery. So in addition to not being able to train, I wasn't able to do anything. right? So it was like work, 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 and absolutely um, no outlet whatsoever. It was really, really, it was a struggle in terms of like mental health. And I was actually talking to a guy that we used to train with together about it, and it's like crazy, like how people take um, physical fitness for granted, not just jujitsu, but working out and everything. Because if it's something that you do consistently, and all of a sudden you're not able to do it at all, it just kind of contributes to the struggle and compounds the issues. Um, so I don't know when it was that I reached out to you. It was probably, I don't know, what, October?
I think it was like August. No, it was
No, 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 no,
September.
no, no. No. Was it? Was it? It might have been
What was
September.
what was the last episode you remember talking about? I was going back to look today and then I forgot.
It was definitely September. I don't know. I think it was like the end of September, because what was going on is we would be, and like I would, if I wanted to, I would go back in my I could go back in my text and see this. Like, we would schedule episodes, and it was just like I was consistently like canceling on episodes, and that was just it was just becoming a headache. And then we were trying to schedule interviews, and I like wasn't available for that, and it just sucked. So I talked to Justin. I just kind of hit the reset button, focused on work for a little bit, and then slowly but surely figured out the issues that have been going on with my shoulder. Slowly but surely figured out the issues that were going on with my back, and just got back to working out. And probably within the last, I'd say, month and a half, have started training seriously again. So, with all that in mind,
Time to come back.
it's time to come back home. The other thing too is I have I don't know if we've talked about, I have two young boys. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they're at great ages right now too. Um, but I have a couple days off a week with them, and I was just trying to maximize my time with them, and my older one's starting to get into sports and everything. But I'm starting a new work schedule in like 2 weeks. It should free up some time on the at night for me. So it just kind of felt like the right time to come back. This was never like, when Justin and I talked about this, this was never a permanent thing for me to get away from this podcast. Um, it's something that even when I wasn't on for the past few months, I was always kind of keeping tabs on Justin to make sure that he didn't fuck it up and drive it into the ground, because it was a passion project for both of us. So that was like the other thing, is like, can this dude not fuck this up for a few months? And like, am I coming back to like the house burnt down? You know what I mean? It's like what it is. It's like, I'm like
Well,
walking out the door. It's like, did I leave the stove on? Okay, yeah, okay, all right, no, okay, it's just Justin with a blowtorch and a can of gas. You know what I mean? So,
well, fortunately, people still listen. So I think that your theory of you being the talent has been wrong for a year and a half, because no Mike, audience still coming in. So I
oh,
mean,
okay. Well, your parents don't count.
they each watch the show 10,000 times every episode.
We're just paying your mom to just keep clicking. Uh,
Amanda Jean's driving from patient to patient, just playing the same
just
episode on
playing the
repeat all
same
day
one
long.
over and over, getting to the exact time that she needs to for it to count as a view. Yep, for sure.
Got that.
Uh,
We got that algorithm figured out.
I was telling Diana J about it. You know, right after you and I talked, and she just said, whenever it's the right time to go back and start it up again, it'll be there. She was much more confident in Justin's ability to keep the show afloat than I was.
Well, Diana J is a saint, and I have said for years that she is the smart one in your family. So you're either really happy as a fan of this show because now you get me and Mike back, or you're really disappointed that you have to deal with Mike again, or you're waiting for me to take my leave of absence so that you can only have Mike.
Permanently,
So
like off this earth.
that seems harsh. And it only took, what, 15 minutes of being back on the show for you to be mean to me again. This is what the people have been missing. So you said you're back to training full time. Would you like to tell everyone what you're working towards in that regard?
Yeah, so the goal right now is the Atlanta IBJJF Open in February. So it's second weekend in February. Um, and it just started as something like somebody at the school mentioned it probably, I don't know, a month and a half ago, and I'm like, let's see where we're at. And my training's just, I've just been building and building on it. And um, if I stay on the track that I'm on now,
What weight are you
my
competing?
weight's down.
I like how we both went to the same thing right away. What weight are you competing at?
So I normally will compete at heavyweight, which is 208. Like I've never fought above 208. Um, I think the fight to win fight I was like 207 and a half, but normally I'm in that 200 range. And I'm about 218. I was 218 this morning. Um, but it's not something I'm going to kill myself on. You know what I mean? If it becomes an issue, then I'll go to super heavy, which I think is 220 something. I'll be a little light for that, but
It is what it is.
I'm not too concerned. Yeah, I'm not concerned with it. But yeah, so business trip February. Fly out there Friday. Um, you know, strangle some people Saturday, and then back home Sunday. Maybe a show on Sunday night with our gold medals.
It maybe a show,
Uh,
maybe a show recorded at on Sunday night in Atlanta.
maybe, maybe Justin might be coming to Atlanta.
You never know. Stay tuned.
It's just it was. I've been looking forward to this. Like I thought about it a couple weeks ago, and just it feels
Good to be back.
it feels good to be on the other. Yeah, it feels good to be on the other side of the screen.
Well, I missed you. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad that
Yeah, I know.
I was my back was getting tired from carrying the show, so I'm glad that you're back to pick up a quarter of the work.
Yeah. Now you know how I felt for a year prior to leaving.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you are as glad as I am that Mike is back.
And don't forget to comment below about how much more likely you'll be to watch the show now that it's not just Justin and that the talent's back.
Check out one of these videos over here next, and if you want access to all of our bonus content, you can click the link down here.
Thanks again for watching, guys. So glad to be back, and we'll see you next time.